All right, it's that time again. Weekly verdict, episode 5. All right, good. Someone's counting. Good. I'm not good with math. JML here, Frank over there, Charlie over there. Coming back with another episode 5, weekly verdict, the number 1 wrestling show in all of YouTube, and that's just because I'm saying it. Guess what?
What's that?
I'm a genius.
You called it.
Not only did I say Triple H was going to bring back several people that were released, but I had a feeling Karrion / Killer. I really wish they'd just call him Killer Kross.
Yeah.
Karrion Kross is back. And no bondage this time. This is the Karrion Kross that we should have got on when he debuted on Raw last year and then got pummeled by Jeff Hardy in 20 seconds. In 5 minutes, we all forgot about that because this was a way to make a statement. You have the whole... Charlie, walk me through the whole segment.
Okay. So whenever I'm missing SmackDown or missing Raw, I always get a feeling that something big is going to happen and I better get home quick and tune into whatever part of it I can. And last night, I was with my family till about 9:30, and then I'm like, you know what? I have to get home. I have to watch the last tail of SmackDown and the tail end of SmackDown and see what happens. And lo and behold, JML wasn't watching live, and Reigns comes out to address Drew McIntyre about Clash at the Castle. And Drew comes out, addresses Roman Reigns, and then an eerie song starts playing, and you see the silhouette of Scarlett by the entrance ramp. And just then, I'm like popping. I'm crazy popping. I grab my cell phone, text JML. He's back. Karrion Kross is back. And you see Kross come out and just nail and knock out Drew McIntyre. And then, which was the really telling part, you had Scarlett with the hourglass, put the hourglass down right in front of the bloodline, and him go TikTok, which I popped for. I was hyped. I'm all set for this.
Also, the last time that happened when Kross debuted in NXT with the hourglass was in front of Adam Cole, and then Adam Cole lost the NXT championship.
Yep.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that Kross is going to get the title. It probably means that Drew's going to get one of the belts. And then we get Roman and Kross. I don't know. It's like I still feel like as much as I love Kross, I know Frank loves Kross. I think we're all in agreement. We just really like the dude. We like the presentation, especially with Scarlett. There's a lot added to that overall package.
Plus, he's just a high-quality human being. I can't stress it enough. When I met him, I'm like, how are you? And he's like, no, man, how are you? And I'm just like, wow, this guy is personable. He's intelligent. He's got it all.
Yeah. Frank, your thoughts on Kross, this re-debut of Kross on SmackDown last night?
Yeah, it's funny. Last week when he was on that Flair pay-per-view, I was thinking, I wouldn't be too surprised this time next week or a week from now he'd be talking about him a different way. Yeah, I mean, when the music started, I'm like, wait a minute. It was almost like one of those, no, like, how Michael Cole would say, no, it can't be. Well, that kind of entered my mind for a second. Then I'm like, oh, I know I'm going to hear it from the guys pretty soon. I was thinking of you guys as soon as I saw him. Yeah, like when he first debuted in NXT, obviously me and J Mill used to talk about. We were big into what they were doing. I'll be honest, for a while there in NXT, I don't think he really impressed in ring.
Yeah.
Until like when he started fighting, Balor, Gargano.
Yeah.
I felt like early on, but presentation wise, obviously was key. And the only problem was it was not in front of fans at the time. Yeah, the fact that the first thing you saw was the silhouette of Scarlet, which we haven't seen that in a WWE show in over a year. I thought that was cool. He had the jacket he had in NXT at one point or another. It's like the same way he attacked Damian Priest, I think, about a year ago. Same jacket. Still has his hair. I don't know about you guys. I don't really dig him with the hair. I don't know. I think he looks.
I don't mind the hair.
Yeah, I just think he looked more menacing without.
This is Karrion Kross. I'll take whatever.
I know you guys are really big on. No, not that I'm not. I was. I liked his run in TNA before the Impact before all this. Yeah, I mean, if anything, we're just getting an injection of fresh faces on a show that desperately needs them, especially SmackDown. They've been really hit hard. I'm interested to see where this goes. Like I said, we have Drew Roman coming up, which should be a good match. Will they take one of the titles off? They can easily do that without hurting Roman. I would prefer it to be somebody like that than versus like I said last week, a cash in. I don't think that's a way to end this reign that he's been on. I mean, yeah, even leading up to it, I mean, they put a lot of stuff together. You've got this going on. You've got the Zayn storyline going on that they built all night, which was tremendous. I thought. Obviously, Sami Zayn's great. No matter what, anytime you give him a microphone.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested where you go. You could see Drew and Cross. You could see Cross and Roman, like you said. There's a bunch of programs. Obviously, I think we're far from done from seeing what Hunter's going to bring in. Obviously, guys that were pet projects of his.
And that's a good segue.
And the fact that he never signed with anybody, I think he had an idea. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk more about later. Maybe some of these people had some clues a couple months ago. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case. In the bigger overall thing is Triple H in a week, 2 weeks now has. Let's just say creatively, let's just say he took over at SummerSlam, right?
Uh-huh.
He's totally revitalized the shows, both shows, and it's just the beginning of the revitalization of Raw and SmackDown. Another guy who I've mentioned on this show several times, Tommaso Ciampa. I was like, this guy was the heart and soul of NXT for many years, over as a face or a heel, and then floundering on Raw. Now he has the opportunity to win the U.S. title after his performance on Raw, where he won that 2 matches. You have Io Sky, Dakota Kai, and returning Bayley, who's been pretty much sitting at home because they didn't have nothing for Bayley to do. Apparently, this group was rejected by Vince McMahon several times. Triple H is in charge, goes, "Oh, you want to do that group? Cool." And that group is now one of the main features on Raw with the 3 of them. What else am I... the revitalization of the U.S. title in general.
Yep.
They're bringing back the women's tag titles, which is probably going to lead to Naomi and Sasha also coming back.
They're even putting the Intercontinental title on Showcase, saying next week Shinsuke and I keep calling him Walter, Gunther, are going to face off for it. So he's doing a great job with all the championships.
Yeah. And that kind of sets the stage for something that I mean, I hope you guys are sitting down when I say this. We actually had one of the best episodes of Dynamite on Wednesday that we've had in several months.
Competition is a good thing.
Competition and good creative creates good programming. And maybe because WWE's creative has not been very strong, Tony Khan was resting on his laurels of the niche audience for the last year, right? Because the product in AEW has been kind of stale for a year, even though they signed all these people. It's just, I don't know. But the show they put on Wednesday, I know Frank watched it. I don't know how much you watched of it, Charlie.
I didn't watch it all.
But Frank could probably. Would you agree that Dynamite was one of the better Dynamites we got? Probably the best Dynamite of the entire year.
Yeah, it was definitely an upgrade over recently. I mean, it's not that they don't put on great matches every week, because they clearly do. But as far as like stories moving, we've got some direction now. We had Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly turn on the Bucks, which is leading to a reunion with Hangman.
Yes.
You bring Kenny back whenever he's ready. You're seeing some storylines move forward. They're starting to build up the pay-per-view coming up. They obviously have they're building up Jericho and Moxley this week. They're building up a special show. There's a lot of big shows coming up. Yeah, it's part, them having to build for the next cycle now, big pay-per-view coming up. But maybe, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. There's always going to be that thing in the back of his head. Hey, wait a minute. We got people trying on the other show now. So it could be time. I don't want to, speak for Tony Khan, but I think some of the moves he made this week, they've made some hirings or promotions for certain people, which is smart. You got to delegate. Like we keep saying, you got to delegate. I wish he would also delegate his booking, but maybe he will. Bringing in, Madison Rain, supposedly going to coach the women's division. Obviously, she already booked herself in a match. So maybe the first thing she coached them on is how to book yourself to the top. But I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. There's certain things he's got to do. It's not going to take much. They have the hardcore fan base still. Yeah, that was a good show. I didn't get to watch Rampage yet, but I heard some good matches on there as well. They've got another Battle of the Belts on tonight. So yeah, hopefully we're going to see quality shows from everybody now. Raw, I know I saw people still saying, "Oh, they didn't like it." I don't know what show they were watching, because that was a much tighter show.
It was
more in ring. Obviously, they're pushing Champ, but last night, I mean, the women's gauntlet. I guess we'll get to maybe Shayna getting pushed. There's no question who's in charge now. Like I said, if anybody any question about, maybe Vince still pushing buttons, yeah, don't think so, guys. I mean, he might still be, calling Stephanie, hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? But we see who's making decisions now.
Well, it makes sense because Shayna also is Ronda's like real life friend, and it's it's really, it makes sense storyline wise that Shayna would face Liv after. I also thought it was very smart of AEW to have Jay Lethal go over Orange Cassidy, considering Jay Lethal was probably in the biggest match of his career on Sunday when he was a participant in the Ric Flair's last match pay-per-view. Charlie couldn't see it because he had technical issues. Right?
Yeah.
Frank, we watched it. It was a good show. It felt like some of the matches were cut short, or I don't know, but it was booked decently. The buy rate came out. It was good. Now it seems like that. What?
What's the buy rate? I'm waiting to hear it.
It was the second biggest independent show of all time on pay-per-view.
So there'll be a Ric Flair's last match too.
Well, apparently there is. Apparently him and Andrade will also be teaming up in Puerto Rico.
There you go. Knew it.
After watching that match, there's no way that man should be in a ring.
That's all I've heard.
Frank.
I mean, you could, if you looked at like Undertaker's face after the match. He's probably saying, "Yeah, I'm glad I retired," but two, yeah, I'm sure what he told Rick was something to that effect. Like he got a suplex, and the guy looked like he was unconscious. And I don't think he was selling.
No,
I mean, there's some stories that came out after the show that he was drunk after the show. He might have been during the show for all we know, but yeah, I never watched a show where I was literally frightened that somebody was literally going to die in front of my eyes. I was watching the show with friends. We had like a Zoom watch along with the Up Next crew, and just it wasn't streamed or anything. It was just us talking, and yeah, we were just like sitting there the whole time, like, oh god, oh god.
I don't get. I mean, I guess he needs the money, but does he really? I don't know. It's too much. I obviously donated $35, whatever the pay-per-view was, to his ex-wives or whatever he's paying out. But I thought it would be his last match. No, it won't be. I was really shocked that Charlotte did not appear on the show at all. Seems really weird to me. Charlie, what do you think?
She should have at least been in the crowd. They didn't show her in the crowd at all.
No.
Wow.
Considering her husband and
Yeah.
father are both in the match. Maybe she was backstage.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Maybe she didn't want to overshadow her father. I don't know. It just felt weird. Yeah, I don't want to see it again. It's gonna happen again. Hopefully no one buys it, so it doesn't give them the idea to do it a third time.
It's his drug of choice. He's not gonna quit. He's gonna die in the ring.
Yeah. Frank, any other thoughts?
Not really. I mean, like you said, want it to be his last match. It won't be. Even without you telling me that, I would have assumed. Not only does he need money, this is all he knows, is being Ric Flair. He can't be himself. He just lives this 24/7. If he's not in the ring and doing something, I think he wants to die in the ring, honestly. I think he would have been happy to do so. Sad, morbid as that sounds. As far as Charlotte, yeah, it was a little weird. I mean, it's not like they didn't have a problem showing other people, WWE related in the crowd.
Yeah.
So
Cody,
yeah. So, I mean, everybody was there. But it was a successful show. Good on Conrad Thompson for having a good production there. The way they lit it, it was very old school NWA feel. They had the set there.
Tony Schiavone
there. They had like the interview set from TBS. So it was kind of cool in that regard.
Dave Penzer.
Yeah, I mean, the matches from different companies. It was a little truly interpromotional, kind of like the real Forbidden Door. I think the best match on the show was probably the Lucha match.
Yeah, that was a very good match.
Really, really awesome. But yeah, it was interesting to say the least.
One thing I wanted to touch on, Liv Morgan. What's up with the crowd booing her?
They didn't boo her. They started a "You Tapped Out" chant, which WWE isn't too happy with.
Yeah, that was the only thing. Remember, and I think we all said it. We were all in agreement. The low point of that entire premium live event was the way they booked that match, because I think we all came out of it saying it did not make Liv look credible with the way that they booked that finish. And obviously, we're not the only ones that thought it when you have an entire crowd saying "You tapped out" to a babyface champion who they've built up for 2 years now.
Yeah.
It's not a good situation. Hopefully, her and Shayna ends in a clean finish where she goes over and it makes her look credible again, because there was a lot of damage done with that finish. So as much credit as we're giving Triple H, that was not a good decision on how they booked that match. Hence what happened last night. Frank, anything that you agree, disagree with?
Yeah, I think they've done a disservice to her. They've done a lot of damage to her already, even just with that finish along the way she's been booked. I think we mentioned that the Money in the Bank cash in, especially with a baby face cashes in like that, it hurts their just doesn't work because you cheated somebody. So now the crowd's supposed to be cheering. It makes sense like when you do it to a heel that's really hated. I know Ronda isn't but this isn't like she's super over. The crowd, yeah, I mean it doesn't take much to get the crowd. That's like a Pavlovian response. You tapped out.
Yeah.
I thought the crowds in general, like Raw especially, was a lousy crowd.
Yep.
And I hope it doesn't dissuade somebody to say, oh, well, maybe it's because of who you booked. I just thought it was just a lousy crowd. Even last night, they were that was probably what they came alive for was that. And at the end of the show, I don't think they really reacted to Cross very well. They do have a lot of work to do with a lot of people. Liv being one of them. I don't think it's unfixable, but they've done a lot of damage. And I don't know if that was like the previous regime that wanted to do that finish and just go along with it. It just doesn't. It never really works when you do a fluke finish like that, and especially the tapping. Like again, she pinned her, so it shouldn't matter.
Yeah,
but that crowd, it didn't look good. I mean, it doesn't mean that every crowd's going to do that, but it doesn't take much to get a crowd to chant something. About with the Watt chants, we'll never get rid of those. So, it kind of reminded me when Triple H fought Brock at that SummerSlam, and they were trying to do the whole, he's getting to his feet in the crowd. The whole crowd's chanting, "You tap down."
Yeah.
So I kind of got a flashback to that. Hopefully they can figure out what to do with Liv, or maybe she's just one of those that is okay in the chase, but as a champion, underdog doesn't always work unless.
Or maybe she should just be a heel.
Maybe.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
That's what they love to do in the company. Just turn everybody heel. It'll work.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Go ahead.
Could this mean that she gets another sneaky victory against Shayna Baszler at Clash of the Castle and gets turned heel?
I mean, with the it seems like the women's revolution is kicking back into full gear with Steph and Triple H at the helm. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another Revolution pay-per-view. And I could see Liv getting help, like someone with her as either a mouthpiece or muscle. Maybe Raquel becomes her muscle. Because I like Raquel. I don't necessarily like her as a baby face. I think when she was in NXT as the heel with Dakota, it was like the perfect pairing. And a lot of people don't watch NXT like they used to and didn't see her babyface run in NXT. They brought her up to the main roster as a face. People were expecting a heel Raquel. They got this bubbly baby face. I think if they paired the two of them together, it would do wonders for the both of them. To me, that would be the perfect pairing. It gives them both something to do. It keeps the belt on Liv, makes her the chicken shit baby face heel, makes Raquel look like the badass that she was in NXT. And she doesn't have to wrestle every week. She can just be, and she can wrestle in tags. And I think it's a better way of presenting her than they're presenting her now. As she's always she's there in the match and she does a good performance, but she doesn't get the victory.
Agreed.
Frank? That's a good idea, actually. I didn't even thought about that. I think we discussed before, like we said, a lot of people didn't watch NXT or don't watch NXT, so they don't know these stories. You can retell them quickly without, for a different crowd. Just like when, Zayn and Owens had their feud in NXT, they kind of retold that story pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's the worst idea, but I think obviously where we're going, Ronda's going to get that belt back probably around the Rumble time, I would say. I don't know if Liv will hold it to then. You could put it on Shayna, have Shayna and Ronda have a feud for a while. I think the obvious Mania match I brought up last week is Becky and Ronda, heel Ronda. So we got a long ways to go from there. But it wouldn't be the worst thing if this crowd continues to have this reaction to Liv to try this. heel run, even though I don't know. I guess having the like the diesel, as we like to refer to, the heater, it always tends to work. It worked for her in Dakota, like you said. So
I
yeah,
think
I
it
mean,
would even work better for her and Liv.
yeah, it might. Because since she's more of an underdog than Dakota was presented as a heel, so maybe she can be, like you said, the little cowardly, like the Christian type heel.
Yep.
With Tom going all out.
Yeah, she can really dig down into like she can make her laugh like an annoying laugh instead of like the lovable laugh. Like she can really just go all in to be like this annoying character.
Annoying Jersey girl.
Yeah. Yeah, is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Wrestling news related at all? Anything that hit the wire?
Who else do you see from the release list making their way back?
I think we're eventually going to get Bray. I think eventually we'll get Bray. This man hasn't signed with any promotion for over a year now. I think he, like Frank alluded to, and I think Charlie said it as well, I think a lot of these people knew what was coming down the road. And they were smart enough to not sign contracts, unlike some other people. But I think Bray would fit in perfect with obviously this new regime and where they're going. I would like to know the contract status on FTR. I think FTR.
You think they'd jump?
I think they would jump back. I think MJF. You see, it's the weirdest thing. Are they working all of the wrestling sites, Tony Khan and MJF? Because literally, we've heard nothing about MJF other than that AEW and MJF are not talking. They removed him from all the vignettes and everything. Like, are they really working an angle, or is this real life? Like, MJF is pretty much done with the company. It just seems really weird to me that he came out and cut that promo and then disappears. Like, you allow him to go on and cut those promos and then just disappears.
Who knows?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't know about that. You would think maybe they're working it, but I don't even know anymore. As far as people that Hunter might bring back, I immediately thought of Jonah Bronson Reed, another one of Triple H's pet projects. He hasn't signed with anybody. He was with Impact a short while. His contract was up. Obviously, Gargano's the obvious answer. Yeah. He had his little panel last week where he was like, "Well, I didn't make a decision." He was being very coy, and actually funny because who also showed up at that little, panel was Dexter Lumis, or right now Samuel Shaw.
Yep.
I know he got released probably because he was a little older, but I can see them doing something with him. He was another Hunter project, so I could see them doing something. There's several people.
Raw's in Cleveland.
Raw is in Cleveland
on Monday. And Ciampa's in the U.S. title match.
Yeah.
Yep. I see.
You got the women's titles coming back. I could have seen the Iconics, but obviously we heard some news this week.
Peyton Royce,
the former Peyton Royce. So that's not going to happen right now.
Spears could be on his way back as a trainer.
Maybe. Yeah, I can see him as a trainer.
He's old.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not he's like AJ Styles old, like Finn Balor old. But
I mean, the dude was like in OVW for years. Twice, actually. He had two stints in developmental. I think he might even did in Deep South at some point. So he's been around. But yeah, I could definitely see him maybe as a trainer role, maybe occasionally using him, but it's not like he'd be missing AEW right now.
So people that are released that are still not. It's just unfortunate that some of these people sign contracts. Like Malachi. Like, if Malachi Black was a free agent, he would be on Raw already. He'd be on SmackDown already.
Think we'll see Andrade?
I think isn't he locked up too, or what's his?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't think Tony had to rant about him. I think he brought up specifically Black and Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Obviously, Swerve and Keith Lee. If they weren't locked up, I think they would be back right now.
I don't think Keith Lee would be back.
Maybe not Keith Lee, but Swerve for sure.
There's something that's still. There's something off with Keith Lee. He's very mercurial.
Yeah.
And I don't think
the eye there.
There's some sort of attitude thing with him that and obviously I think it's fitness too that it's held him back. I don't think necessarily was like he got a good push, like compared to other NXT people, he got a good push out of the gate. He beat Orton. Yeah. It wasn't like he lost to Orton in 20 seconds. There was just something there that they didn't like about him, and that's why they released him. And I think they're totally on board with not bringing that man back.
That's a fair point to say. But I definitely could see if Swerve wasn't locked up. They obviously dropped the ball and hit Row. I could see them. Well, maybe you can see the other three. They're still out there. And they were the original group on NXT anyway on the house show loop. So I don't know if you think what you think about that, because they were definitely moving merch.
They were. I think they need Swerve, though.
Yeah. I think he's okay on his own, but yeah, there's a lot of people. I think there's already been word. There's certain people that said, "Man, if I had known this was going to happen, I wouldn't have signed any long-term deal." It's good though. We're going to get a lot more movement back and forth. Yeah. I think MDF either way was going to go there, but yeah, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of movement back and forth, and that's a good thing. We've got Impact as an intermediate. People can go there who aren't getting TV time and maybe improve, which I thought Cass did there, Morrissey. I don't know what he's doing right now, but I thought he did a good job going to Impact and revitalizing himself.
Yeah, it's crazy how Enzo and Cass have literally, like, those guys moved more merch than anyone their first year on the main roster. And then it just fell off the cliff. Now that they're both past a lot of those issues, I'm surprised they're not in an AEW or WWE.
Yeah. Enzo, I know for whatever reason, everywhere he goes, he just causes issues backstage, apparently, which is why I guess only MLW has been willing to sign him. But as far as we know about Cass, he's gotten over his drug issues. He's in shape. He's doing well. So, I can see them. I don't know how high Triple H was on him, but he was there when he first opened the PC. So he's another Triple H guy, I would say.
How long do you think?
Go ahead.
How long do you think until we get rid of Nickelodeon NXT?
What, the look itself or just like the style? I can see them rebranding, not right away. There's been, in general, I know maybe Charlie has been watching, but there's been a general, even before this, there's kind of like they've been settling in more, I would say. When they first rebranded, they just kind of threw all this new talent out that nobody knew who they were. They've been building around certain people. It wouldn't take much. They'll probably drop a little more of the silly stuff. Although I like some of the silly stuff, like Tony D'Angelo and his crew. I dig that kind of stuff. I know, Italian guy, right?
Yeah.
But I dig that. I mean, I like what they're doing with Breaker. He's obviously ready for the main roster anytime they want him, call him up. Carmelo Hayes, I brought up before, tremendous talent. I think he should be a top star on the main roster at some point.
And the Creed brothers.
Oh, the Creed brothers. Yeah, those are much like Kurt Angle. They picked it up right away. They're a tremendous tag team. So with Hunter back in charge, and I know he likes tag team wrestling. If they revitalize this tag division, absolutely could see FTR come back. But then again, yeah, because if Triple H is on the main roster, I don't think they have a problem with him. I don't know how much of a problem they have with him. I know they had an issue with Sean, but it looks like he'll be staying down at NXT. So that's the only thing I can think about. Any reason why they wouldn't? But if he can revitalize his tag division, and I think he can, there's a lot more excitement for us longtime fans have been waiting for this moment. It's not going to take much. Simple little things. We've already seen some little subtle changes. It's not like it's rocket science. They don't have to reinvent the thing. Just presentation is everything.
When do you think Braun Breaker is going to be on the main roster?
Survivor.
Oh, go ahead.
Survivor Series, you said?
Yeah. Survivor Series? Okay. If he loses this title soon, he could. I would say at the latest, have him debut in a Rumble and have a good run, but at the latest.
Yeah. I think we've covered just about everything that happened this week. Appreciate everyone that stopped in, everyone that's viewing. If you're viewing and you're not subscribed, there's a button that says subscribe. You hit that button and you're subscribed.
Great.
For free. It doesn't cost you anything. JML, we're going to be signing off. Any last words to the audience? Charlie, first.
As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, tell a friend to tell their friends. We got a lot more in store for you.
Yep. Frank?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to apologize. Unfortunately, we didn't have a Tony Khan tweet of the week. It's been a relatively quiet week for him, shockingly enough. I know you guys love that. Yeah, please like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate you guys supporting us so far. Anything else you want to talk about, let us know. But I'm sure it's going to be very interesting the rest of this year going into next year's Mania time.
It's a good point. Tony's been awfully quiet on Twitter. Yeah, as per usual, our sign off is good night and good luck. Farewell. Take care. Good night.